Wine looks sophisticated, right? Elegant bottles, centuries of tradition, health benefits from resveratrol. But pour the wrong glass, and what you're really getting is industrial beverage engineering, hidden additives, and production methods that have nothing to do with traditional winemaking. For health-conscious drinkers believing they're making better choices, or budget shoppers trusting grocery store labels, this isn't the wine culture you think it is. It's mass production disguised as craftsmanship. Some brands were named in lawsuits alleging excessive contaminants. Others use industrial shortcuts banned in traditional winemaking regions. The most trusted names? Corporate operations prioritizing profit margins over quality. I've analyzed industry reports, production methods, and ingredient disclosures. What I discovered about America's wine industry will change how you shop. Today we're exposing 8 wine brands using questionable production methods. Stay until the end, because I'll reveal 2 brands that actually respect traditional winemaking. 8. Yellowtail. That kangaroo logo is everywhere. The Australian branding suggests authentic quality and laid-back approachability. At $8 to $10 per bottle, it seems like affordable imported wine. Owned by Casella Family Brands, one of the world's largest wine producers, manufacturing over 10 million cases annually. That's industrial-scale beverage production, not traditional winemaking. Independent testing has detected glyphosate residues in various commercial wines, including some from major producers. Glyphosate is the herbicide used in Roundup, sprayed on vineyard floors to control weeds. The winemaking process involves extreme filtering and processing that strips wine of natural compounds. Texture, complexity, and character get eliminated for mass market appeal and shelf stability. Uses added tartaric acid to boost acidity, tannin powder for structure, and oak chips soaked in wine rather than actual barrel aging. These are standard industrial shortcuts for high-volume production. Sulfite levels often run at maximum allowable limits because wine travels globally and sits on shelves for months. For people who get wine headaches, high sulfite levels are a common trigger. The wine can legally be blended with imports from other countries and still carry Australian designation, as long as the majority volume originates in Australia. For casual wine drinkers expecting traditional Australian winemaking, this represents industrial efficiency, not craft production. Mass market wine marketed, industrial processing delivered. 7. Apothic Red. Dark Gothic label suggesting complexity and sophistication. The mysterious blend sounds artisanal and crafted. Actually covers budget-friendly grape sourcing. Owned by E&J Gallo, the same corporation that produces Barefoot. Different label, similar industrial production scale. Here's what matters. This wine is noticeably sweet. While exact residual sugar isn't disclosed on the label, industry sources suggest higher sweetness levels than traditional dry red wines. Uses Mega Purple, an industrial grape concentrate added for color and sweetness. The deep purple doesn't come from premium grapes. It comes from concentrated juice that appeals to people who don't enjoy traditional wine flavors. The label deliberately keeps grape varieties vague. Red blend could mean anything. Likely means whatever grapes were most affordable when the wine was produced. Marketed as smooth because sweetness masks harsh tannins from lower quality grapes and faster production methods. Smooth equals sweet. Sweet equals accessible, not traditional. This wine successfully attracts people who don't typically enjoy wine by making it taste sweeter and more approachable. It's designed for mass appeal, not wine enthusiasts. For people trying to enjoy wine for potential health benefits, higher sugar content works against those benefits. Sugar contributes to inflammation and metabolic issues. For diabetics choosing wine as a lower sugar alcohol option, sweeter wines aren't the best choice for blood glucose management. Mysterious blend marketed. Sweet, accessible wine delivered. 6. Barefoot wine. America's best-selling wine brand by volume. Those colorful labels fill entire grocery store aisles, priced at $5 to $8 per bottle. Extremely cheap for wine made from grapes. Owned by E&J Gallo, the massive corporate winery that dominates American production, producing millions of cases annually on industrial scale. The 2015 lawsuit alleged that several wines, including Barefoot, contained arsenic levels that plaintiffs claimed were concerning. The lawsuit was ultimately dismissed, but it raised questions about testing and transparency in mass-market wines. Uses added sugars not disclosed on the label to improve palatability. The sweetness masks harsh flavors from higher-yield, lower-quality grape sourcing. Contains mega purple colorant, an industrial grape concentrate that makes inexpensive, lighter wines appear richer and more premium. Deep color doesn't come from quality grapes. It comes from concentrated Concord grape juice. Wine regulations allow up to 76 different processing aids, clarifying agents, and production additives without requiring label disclosure. These are considered processing aids, not ingredients. Wine has become an industrial beverage designed for maximum profit margins and minimum production cost, rather than an agricultural product focused on grape quality. For party hosts buying cases thinking they're getting good value, you're getting industrial efficiency, not craft winemaking. Budget party wine marketed. Industrial production delivered. 5. Franzia boxed wine. The box holds 5 liters, equivalent to 6 or 7 bottles, for $15 to $20 total. That's $2 to $3 per bottle equivalent. At this price point, it's difficult to produce wine from quality grapes using traditional methods. Grapes, fermentation time, and proper aging all cost money. Franzia was also named in the 2015 lawsuit alleging concerning contaminant levels. Like the Barefoot case, this lawsuit was dismissed, though it highlighted questions about ultra-budget wine production. The wine relies heavily on citric acid to boost acidity, tannin powders for structure, and processing techniques focused on consistency rather than character. This is beverage engineering, not traditional winemaking. Grapes are sourced from high-yield, lower-cost suppliers where production volume matters more than grape quality. The bag-and-box format uses plastic that some critics argue may affect wine quality over time, though this remains debated in the industry. Pour it, and you'll notice the wine is quite thin with sharp acidity. It lacks the body and complexity you'd find in wines made from lower-yield, higher-quality grapes. For college students on budgets, this represents maximum alcohol for minimum cost, not wine culture or quality. For families serving this at gatherings, you're prioritizing convenience and price over wine quality. Box convenience marketed, ultra-budget production delivered. 4. Kendall-Jackson Vintners Reserve Chardonnay. Restaurant wine lists from coast to coast feature this as house Chardonnay. Servers recommend it confidently. Diners order it believing they're making a safe, quality choice. The Vintners Reserve designation has no legal definition. Any wine can claim reserve status without meeting specific standards or requirements. Jackson Family Wines operates through aggressive restaurant placement programs, offering promotional support, staff training, and incentives. Restaurants stock KJ because the business terms are attractive. The famous buttery profile comes from engineered malolactic fermentation combined with specific yeast strains designed to produce particular flavor compounds. This is flavor engineering based on consumer preferences, not traditional winemaking. Uses processing techniques focused on creating consistent, commercially appealing flavor profiles year after year. Appellation games allow sourcing flexibility. California means grapes from anywhere in the state. The brand sources bulk juice from various Central Valley growers, processes it to a standard profile, and bottles it as Kendall-Jackson. For restaurant diners trusting server recommendations, understand that business relationships and incentive programs often influence wine list selection. For those believing vintners reserve signals careful selection, it actually signals successful marketing and distribution strategy. Restaurant staple, marketed. Engineered consistency, delivered. 3. Woodbridge by Robert Mondavi. The Robert Mondavi name carries significant weight in California wine. Mondavi built Napa Valley's modern reputation. His name suggests quality, tradition, and prestige. In 2004, the Mondavi Company was sold to Constellation Brands, which acquired the rights to use his name on various wine products, including budget-friendly grocery store lines. This wine bears little resemblance to Robert Mondavi's original vision. The grapes don't come from Napa Valley. They're sourced from California's Central Valley, where higher yields and lower costs are prioritized. Contains residual sugar to improve palatability, though these amounts aren't disclosed on labels. The sweetness makes the wine more accessible, but less true to traditional dry wine profiles. Uses modern processing techniques, including filtration and blending methods designed for consistency and commercial appeal, rather than expressing specific vineyard character. Priced to compete with bargain wines while using the Mondavi name for credibility. Consumers see Robert Mondavi and assume Napa quality. They're getting Central Valley industrial production. The original Robert Mondavi elevated California wine standards through quality focus. This wine represents a different business model entirely, mass production using a prestigious name. For wine enthusiasts who trust the Mondavi name, understand this is a licensed brand, not the founder's original vision. Mondavi Prestige marketed. Central Valley industrial wine delivered. 2. Beringer Founders Estate. Treasury Wine Estates acquired Beringer, then restructured operations significantly. The historic estate produces premium wines separately. Founders Estate is a different tier using the Beringer name. The historic estate and Founders Estate are separate operations. Different facilities, different sourcing, different production methods. What they share is the name on the label. Uses intensive filtration that creates crystal clear wine but removes much of the texture and character. The focus is on visual appeal and consistency rather than complexity. Even some red wines may use color enhancement techniques to create the deep, rich appearance consumers expect from premium wines, even when grape quality doesn't naturally deliver that intensity. Treasury's corporate ownership means production targets and margin requirements set by executives focused on financial performance rather than winemaking tradition. For wine enthusiasts expecting Napa quality from a historic name, understand that corporate restructuring has separated the premium estate wines from the mass-market Founders Estate line. For anyone seeking value, recognize this represents efficient corporate wine production, not the historic estate's traditional methods. Historic Napa name marketed. Corporate production tiers delivered. 1. Concha y Toro Frontera. Chile's largest wine producer with massive global distribution. Frontera is their budget export line, sold primarily in foreign markets. The wine industry in Chile has faced criticism regarding labor practices and environmental concerns. International organizations have documented concerns about worker conditions and pesticide exposure in some Chilean agricultural operations. Chile faces significant water challenges. Large agricultural operations, including major wine producers, control substantial water rights, while some communities face water access issues, creating ongoing social tensions. The production focuses on volume and consistency for export markets. Temperature-controlled fermentation and blending create standardized profiles rather than showcasing vineyard character or regional distinctiveness. Quality standards and oversight can differ between domestic and export products across various wine-producing countries, a practice that's raised concerns among consumer advocates. The wine is priced for maximum market penetration, extremely low cost, designed to compete with the cheapest options in every market. For budget buyers seeking Chilean wine, understand this represents the lowest tier of Chilean production, not the quality wines Chile is capable of producing. For those expecting imported wine to mean quality, Frontera proves that cheap imports often mean bulk production designed for price-sensitive markets. Chilean wine marketed, budget export tier delivered. Check your wine rack now. If you see Yellowtail, Apothic, Barefoot, Franzia, Kendall-Jackson, Woodbridge, Beringer Founders Estate, or Concha y Toro Frontera, understand what you're drinking. These aren't examples of traditional winemaking. They're industrial beverages designed for mass markets and maximum profit margins. But real wine exists. Two producers actually grow grapes sustainably, ferment without shortcuts, and bottle with integrity. Frey Vineyards. America's first organic winery, certified organic since 1980. 3 generations of the Frey family farming without synthetic chemicals. USDA organic and biodynamic certified through third-party verification. No synthetic pesticides or herbicides in their vineyards. Natural fermentation using indigenous yeasts from grape skins. Minimal sulfite additions, significantly lower than conventional wines. Located in Mendocino County, away from conventional agriculture, reducing exposure to pesticide drift from neighboring farms. Estate-grown means complete control from vine to bottle. Wines taste like actual grapes and terroir, not oak manipulation and industrial processing. Some bottles have sediment because they're not filtered to crystal clarity. That's how wine looks before corporate standardization. Available at Whole Foods and natural grocers for $12 to $18 per bottle, proving that organic, low-intervention wine doesn't require exclusive pricing or specialty distribution. For families wanting wine made without synthetic agricultural chemicals, organic certification provides third-party verification. For people with sulfite sensitivity, lower sulfite levels often mean better tolerance. For those seeking environmental sustainability, organic and biodynamic farming focuses on soil health and ecosystem balance. Frey proves that commercial availability and clean production methods can coexist profitably. 4 decades of organic farming demonstrate long-term viability. Ridge Vineyards. Historic California winery founded in 1885 that has remained independent. Still family-controlled, still committed to quality-first winemaking. Estate vineyards farmed organically, though they don't emphasize certification in their marketing. Single vineyard bottlings that express specific terroir and site characteristics. Minimal intervention winemaking using indigenous yeasts and traditional techniques. Transparent labeling that lists vineyard blocks, harvest dates, and production details. Alcohol levels printed accurately to the decimal point. Sulfite additions disclosed with exact amounts used. No added water, sugar, acid, tannin, color, or oak extract. Just grapes, thyme, and traditional winemaking knowledge. Montebello Cabernet Sauvignon competes with Napa's finest while maintaining complete production integrity. Geyserville Zinfandel shows what California wine meant before corporate consolidation. Premium pricing ranges from $35 to $200, depending on specific vineyard and vintage. Reflects actual costs of quality viticulture and traditional winemaking without industrial shortcuts. For wine enthusiasts seeking California's best without corporate compromise, Ridge represents what independent, quality-focused winemaking can achieve. For those learning about wine, their transparent labels teach what actually matters in production. For anyone wanting wine that improves with age, proper winemaking creates bottles worth cellaring for decades. Ridge proves American wine doesn't require industrial production or corporate ownership to succeed commercially. And there you have it. From Yellowtail's industrial scale to Concha y Toro's budget export tier, we've exposed how major wine brands prioritize efficiency and profit margins over traditional winemaking. Corporate mega-producers focus on consistency and cost control. Prestigious names license their reputation for mass-market products. Budget prices reflect industrial shortcuts and high-volume sourcing. You now understand the difference between industrial wine production and traditional winemaking. Choose producers who farm sustainably, ferment naturally, and bottle with transparency. These two brands prove it's possible. If this investigation opened your eyes, smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another expose. We've got more beverage industry insights coming your way. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay sharp, stay healthy, and keep rising.